Yo, what is going on, guys? I'm back, and I got two MUT gameplays here for you. I haven't started my seasons back up because I'm not up to all Madden first string yet. Um, I haven't really played Madden, honestly. Past couple days, just trying to, get back to my schedule or whatever. But this weekend, I'm definitely going to be knocking out some games. Anyway, so these two gameplays, I'm going to talk about some of the games that went on this week. And first, let me get into the Chargers-Buffalo. Chargers, congrats, 2 wins in a row and looking really good out there. Hopefully, they can keep this going because I think Chargers, honestly, they got a chance to win that division out there. If they end up, upsetting the Broncos, one of the 2 games or 2 out of 2 games, I think they got a legitimate chance. They're looking really nice, and I love Phil Rivers when he's got his like defensive mentality out there, when he's jaw jacking or whatever. But yeah, Bills, they just got to pick up EJ Manuel's gameplay. That's it. That's where they're faulting. Next game, Cincy and Tennessee. Cincy playing a much lesser opponent, put up 26 plus points, point spread over them. Andy Dalton attributed to that with a receiving touchdown. I guess you gotta use your $75 million quarterback or however much you got paid as a receiver, whatever. Not the brightest move, but honestly, he's the weakest point on their team, and you paid him the most. Not maybe the brightest decision. Anyway, next game, let's go into the Ravens and the Browns. Great game this was. Came down to the wire. Ravens had, to get that field goal at the end. And of course, anything within 50 yards, Tucker's going to smash through. Honestly, the Browns kind of came apart a little bit at the end, but still, liking the Browns. I still think that they're definitely the team of the future out in that division because, if you're going to ride the Red Rocket for Cincy, I don't think it's going to work out, in the next couple of years. I just don't foresee it when the defense starts aging and the offense, guys start getting older. He's going to start really getting exposed. And the Cleveland Browns, Mike Pettin is doing a great job with that defense. A couple more drafts, and this defense will be like the defense that the Steelers were and the Ravens have been in the past. And the Ravens getting back to form, so I'm liking that. I think it's a big attributed to a lot of their pickups with Steve Smith and all that. Next game, Detroit and Green Bay. I really don't got much to say about this game except for I was disappointed in how the Packers played. Nothing against Detroit Lions, but I think the Packers, essentially beat themselves. They did not play, typical Packers football and, ended up losing. That's what you get. Next game, we got Indy and Jacksonville. Indy smashed Jacksonville. Only 2 good things, or 2 things I'll take away from this game. Indy's still not using Trent Richardson how he needs to be used. They are using him as like a scat back or one cut back kind of thing, and that is not his game plan. Like, you got to put a fullback in front of him and just pound the ball right through the tackles. Anyway, I guess I'm the only person, that notices this. But whatever. Trent Richardson is a good back. And the other thing to take away is Blake Bortles seems to be the starting quarterback now for Jacksonville Jaguars. So, hats off to getting the rookie in there. And I think, honestly, he's probably the best quarterback that came out in the draft, at least pro-ready. Now, long term, after you develop Johnny Manziel and maybe Derek Carr, maybe they're better, but I think right now Blake Bortles is the best quarterback that came out of the draft. Next one, New England and Oakland. More surprised at how close this game was. And Derek Carr looked good. That pick at the end of the game wasn't his fault. Receivers got to squeeze that in. But instead, Vince Wilfork ended up coming up with like a tipped interception or whatever. Ended up sealing the game for him. Patriots, the receivers got to squeeze the ball in too. I think Gronk had a drop pass that would have been a touchdown, and so did Danny Amendola. Come on, guys. You guys got to catch these balls that Tom Brady's putting on the money. Anyway, let's see what we got next. We got New Orleans and the Vikings. Now, you don't really expect much from the Vikings when Adrian Peterson's not in there, so I'm guessing their season's pretty much going to shit. But Teddy Bridgewater did come in and start because Matt Castle, I don't know how many, I think 4 or 6 weeks, something like that. I think he ended up breaking his foot or something. I don't remember what he injured, but it looks like Teddy Bridgewater, he's coming in, and hopefully he can improve some of the play that's out there. He doesn't even have to win games. He just has to look good and run the offense effectively, and I think they'll leave him in there. New Orleans, looking okay. Defense not looking as good as you want, but offense still got to put up more points than 20, especially to win some of these games that they're going to have to do if their defense is not looking as good as they did last year. That's just my thoughts. Anyway, Giants and Texans. Giants finally decided to show up to a game, put up 30 points on the Texans, who I think have a good defense, especially once Jadeveon gets back in there. You didn't get to see much of him because he got hurt in like the first quarter versus the Redskins. But him and J.J. Watt, J.J. Watt's already a beast. You take any little bit of pressure off of J.J. Watt, because you have to pretty much double team Clowney because he's just a freak. And, J.J. Watt or Clowney is just going to tear you guys apart. Offense for the Texans, they have, two explosive players with DeAndre Hopkins and Andre Johnson at the receivers, and of course you got Arian Foster. Granted, I think he might have been hurt for this game or tweaked something, I don't know. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's not a top 10, maybe top 20 quarterback, but he runs it effectively. But they didn't do it this week. And you kind of get the loss when you do stuff like that. Next game, the Eagles and Redskins. Honestly, this game should have been won by the Redskins. I'm a Cowboys fan, and I don't like the Redskins, don't like the Eagles for sure, and not a fan of the Giants pretty much in any way, shape, or form. But this game should have been won by the Redskins. They ended up beating themselves. Well, not even them beating themselves. Kirk Cousins, threw the game away, essentially. Just bad decisions and bad play calls, not audibling out of stuff that he should have been audibling out of. When you can see the blitz, like coming like the Eagles are sending it, you gotta change up the play, but instead he decides to run draw plays. What the hell, man? Anyway, Eagles should not have won that game, but Kirk Cousins showed why he was the backup, not the starter. Anyway, next game, happy to see this. Granted, I didn't get to see it live. I just got to watch some of the highlights. The Dallas Cowboys beating the Rams. Usually when I see the Rams on the Cowboys schedule, I pretty much check it off as a W. This one was like a 21-point, lead I think the Rams had on them, and it was ridiculous. And then all of a sudden, Cowboys get a pick for a touchdown, make a couple plays, get squared up, and then end up going up 34-31, even though the Rams had a shot there at the end. But Mo Claiborne making that pick, actually coming to life. Nothing against Mo. I know he's been hurt, but he's a #1 draft pick. You've been expected to make those plays essentially from your sophomore year, but just hasn't come through. Finally came through with a nice pick there. So hats off. Defense looking really good for the Cowboys. Rams still put up a good fight, especially missing their starting quarterback. But yeah, the Cowboys offense is honestly their problem right now, which you don't usually hear because the studs they got over there. But anyway, good job getting a win. Now Arizona Cardinals and the Niners. I loved this game. This game was great. Bruce Arians has doing a great job getting that defense going, and offense still looking good even though Carson Palmer's not in there. I don't know what more to say. They made the Niners look bad, and the Niners are, in my opinion, top 5 team in the league. Not even just NFC, but just in the league. Arguably top 3 teams, and the Cardinals looked really good. And I think it's kind of like they got a chip on their shoulder because they're in the same division with Seahawks and the Niners. They just I think they took it personally when I think they had the Rams ranked higher than them, which that definitely shouldn't have happened. Anyway, so congrats to them, liking what they're doing out there. Next one, Kansas City and Miami. Kansas City put up a lot of points against Miami. Not really surprised, but once they do get Jamal Charles back in there, that'll be pretty much how their team's going to run, because that whole entire offense goes through Jamal Charles. And he's honestly, in my opinion, he's the best back in the league, bar none. Best overall back in the league. Granted, you want a ground pound, you go Peterson. You want something scat, you go to LaShawn McCoy. But I think you just want to pick a back you can do anything with. You got Jamal Charles. Anyway, next game, Carolina and Pitt is who I'll talk about. And the only thing I really took away from this is Carolina's defense is not looking like Carolina's defense from last year. Pitt, they put up some good points. Their offense looked, like they were clicking. Defense looked okay. Granted, Ike Taylor, that broken arm, that was nasty. But yeah, honestly, and Kelvin Benjamin looking really good. Making like ridiculous catches, dropping some easy ones, but still making some, amazing like top 10 plays there. Next game, Chicago and the Jets. The Jets played great. It was just just Geno Smith. He's the problem out there. He played good sometimes, and then other times, he was Geno Smith. And, a first play of the game, you throw an interception for a touchdown. Come on, man. That is not the way to start it. And why would you start with a halfback screen to start the game? I don't know why. Yeah. Anyway, and they were making bad play calls at certain times. I think they ended up running like a quarterback like draw or something like that, like within like the goal line there. Like, are you kidding me? Chris Ivory was running that game apart. You give it to Chris Ivory, or you try and look for Curley on a slant underneath. And then to end the game, like you call Curley on a fade. Are you kidding me? Curley's like 5'9" or something like that. Like he's a tiny receiver. You run him across the middle, especially when you see man coverage. Whatever. Jets ended up losing that game essentially because of Geno. And Chicago, they're like decimated in the secondary, even though Kyle Fuller, my pick for defensive MVP of the year, or at least rookie of the year, I'm sorry. Next game I'm going to talk about is, the Super Bowl rematch, Denver and Seattle. And what I took away from this game was Seattle can't be beat by Denver, but Denver's offense got to show up. They got to stop running those stupid freaking draws. They got to stop running those stupid freaking screens. They don't work against Seattle. Seattle has tuned themselves to beat those things when it comes to Denver. I don't think one of those plays really got them anything. I think one time I saw a draw getting like five yards, like whoop-de-doo, whatever. And they ran it on in bad situations. They had like 3 or 4 3 and out. And for the defense to come back on the field that many times and perform like they did, granted, Seattle was playing a little conservative, but yeah, defensively, Denver's looking great. Offensively, you got to open it up. You got to let Peyton Manning open it up. And Peyton Manning, he's got to go back and review that and be like, look, these plays just out. We don't run these stupid screens. We don't run these stupid draws. We either run the ball straight up the middle on dives or whatever. Or we're going to the middle of the field, because that's where they're killing. They are killing Seattle in the mid-passing game. Whatever. That's my takeaways for the week. This ends up ending my video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like it if you liked it. Comment down below what you guys' thoughts. And subscribe for more Madden games, head-to-heads, online gameplays, pack openings, all that. Yada, yada. I'm out. Deuces.